Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Latched podcast. For those of you who have never listened to the podcast before, we're just two moms with a lot of kids talking about motherhood and the good, the bad, the hard, the easy. None of it's easy. Anyways, okay, yeah, so join us today. Yes, that's my story. Today we're going to do a little catch-up episode, talk about life, what's happening in our lives, talk about fall things. You're listening to Latched Mama Podcast. I'm your host, Melissa Wirt, busy mom of 6 and owner of LatchedMama.com. Join us each week as we talk about pregnancy, breastfeeding, postpartum, and all things motherhood. Hi.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm good.
That was a really, really hard cut for Kennedy. Kennedy's going to have to be super
work his magic.
Yeah, on the intro to the beginning of the podcast cut.
That's like a Monday intro right there.
Yeah, that was a very much.
We
a
don't
Monday
often
intro.
podcast on Mondays.
We don't. Mondays are normally reserved for not podcasting. Getting 12 kids between the two of us back into their life and their responsibilities and all of that, which is very hard. I need a second cup of coffee. What time is it? It's 11:30. Oof. Something just hit me hard. But all right, we're here for you guys, and we're going to talk today a little bit about, stuff.
Yeah.
I'll give you guys a little update. Going to talk about pregnancy loss. This is your, I hate them, trigger warnings. I don't hate them. I think they're very important. I almost feel like, though, they're for people who have had losses before more so than they are for people who are pregnant now. I don't know. It's very an interesting, emotional thing. Because I think remembering a loss is sometimes harder than, finding strength that a pregnancy is healthy and stuff and you're doing well. But anyways, so no longer pregnant, which is okay. 2 weeks out from 2 weeks, week and a half out from officially being done. Pregnancy test is negative. So we're back preventing pregnancy again. Hopefully we are successful this time. I believe we've both landed at the fact that we are done, which is interesting because I don't know if necessarily Eric was quite where I was at with being done. And then we had a pretty good conversation. I mean, mind you, it was 5 minutes because that's what you get when you have 6 kids. But about the fact that he didn't ever want to see me go through what I had to go through. And probably the realities of pregnancy at 42 would be that could potentially happen again. So I think we are just going to love on our children that we have and move on to a new stage of our lives. And that new stage revolves around condoms, and then we will figure it out from there. But right now, it's back to when we first started dating, and there's kind of a little bit of fun in it.
Fun time.
It is kind of fun. It feels a little bit nostalgic, Except this time, never mind.
Yeah.
This I'm going to go down, but never mind.
So chores.
Anyways, chores. But yes,
Just
for those
kidding.
of you who have reached out, I was so incredibly touched by the amount of emails and messages that I got from that podcast. And it's really funny. It's not, I don't know. It's not that it doesn't feel vulnerable to share with you all, but I think that I feel just such a calling to make sure that we are talking more about the hard parts of motherhood. That podcasts like that aren't necessarily very hard for me to do. What's hard for me sometimes is the response that they get just from feeling I don't know, I just feel for other people, and it's just, it's hard because I know that I have a lot of privilege and I have a lot of support. And I just know that that's not true for a lot of people. So thank you guys for your love, your support, making sure that we're always reminded that, us showing up is actually making a difference somewhere, because, that's how we kind of get back a little bit. This podcast doesn't make any money, which is fine. I enjoy sitting with my friend and talking to her, but anyways, you guys are amazing. So we're going to keep talking about fall chores. I don't know. Lindy started and she was we were bouncing around ideas And she was like, can we just talk about all of the fall things that you feel like you have to do that you really don't want to do? Lindy, when I first met her, it was really funny because I was still in like,
where's this going?
I don't know, like kid 3 or 4 range when she started working here. I think I only had 3. Maybe I was pregnant with 4. I don't know.
I think you were just newly pregnant.
I don't know. Because Catherine was like 6 months old when I asked you to come, and then you waited a year before you started working here. So I was
started
probably
in May,
newly,
and I think you were newly pregnant.
I don't know. Whatever. I've been pregnant or breastfeeding for a really long time.
Yeah.
But I said to Lindy, I was like, so you guys going to the pumpkin patch? Because, you know, everybody goes to the pumpkin patch. And she was like, no. And I was like, what do you mean no? I'm like, you don't just get out of
Did this
going.
really happen?
Yes, this conversation
all right.
happened. I mean, this other part of me said, I
Back
didn't.
then, I was just trying to get out of my house
I know,
for 3 hours
I know,
to come
but here's
here.
the
Yeah,
deal. That's
I don't
how,
remember it.
like, how maybe closed off I was to other people's experiences then or something. Because I didn't finish the conversation. I didn't say, what are you doing? You have to take your kids to the pumpkin patch. It was in my brain. I was probably a little judgy at the time. But you were like, no, we'll just grab them at Walmart when we're shopping. And I was like, huh? You can do that? You don't have to go to the pumpkin patch and try and take a picture. You can just get pumpkins at Walmart. Oh, how times have changed. How times have changed. Just in the sense that like now
we have the conversation.
Yeah, now we have the conversations for sure. But also now I'm so overwhelmed that I was really excited when some sort of gourd squash product was growing on my driveway to the point where I did not pull it up, hoping that it was pumpkins.
You could legit have your own pumpkin patch.
Yes, hoping that somewhere
You've got a
in front-
garden. Where's your pumpkin patch?
The pumpkins did not take in the garden, but I was really hoping that whatever the kids, so apparently after Halloween, the pumpkins rotted in the front yard, which is hilarious to me. I don't know what happened. I'm sure the boys ran around and threw rotten pumpkin at each other or something. I don't know what happened, but suddenly we had this vine thing growing on our, like, we have this, I mean, it's we live where we live because it's an absolutely amazing place to raise kids, and it's gorgeous. But the house is stone, and it like has these like pillar things in the front of it. It's a little pretentious feeling. It's probably not somewhere where a gourd / pumpkin patch should be, but I let it grow. You guys follow me on Instagram. I put it on stories sometimes. But the desire that I had for those things to be pumpkins, and for there to be at least 6 of them, and actually 5 because Matthew doesn't need a pumpkin, I was like, please let them be pumpkins, because then I don't have to go to the pumpkin patch. Which
they weren't pumpkin. It was
they were mini pumpkins, and they're super
so cute
and awesome. But they didn't end up being real pumpkins. But it's fine. I would have taken the kids to the pumpkin patch anyways. But that was my joke, is I kept telling the kids, guys, pick your pumpkin, pick your driveway pumpkin. This
From
is
a
what
little
we're doing
bit that
this
I've
year.
seen, they're not easy to grow. Like, we keep throwing ours in the backyard, and every year, like, there's a vine, and I'm like, I see flower, like, but then like the flower's not the good. Like, if there's the flower, that you don't get the pumpkin, and I'm like, I
feel
really
so bad for the
just
moms.
want to throw the pumpkins there and have one grow one year, because we had a big vine one year, and I was so excited. It was like right under the trampoline, and then nothing. So then we got.
I feel really bad for that. Like, guys, we're not judging. I mean, there was a time where I literally, especially when I stayed at home, I went to like every pumpkin patch in like a 3-hour radius. I love the fall. I love pumpkins. I don't love pumpkin spice, but give me all of the pumpkin muffins and the pumpkin breads and the pumpkin cookies, and give me Thanksgiving. And
but there were times I still have the pictures on my phone. We went to Walmart, and they have like the big, just the boxes of pumpkins.
Yeah.
And I put the kid really close, and I zoomed in. And so I have a picture that is just pumpkins, like background with their faces. And I'm like, smile. And then I like zoomed out and like took like the reality one. It was like the Instagram versus the reality. But like, that is where I was when I had like super infants. It just, we weighed up the situation, and was this going to be a positive one for everybody? And the answer was no, like, we didn't go. And now we found our little, we've found our way.
Did you go to Skin Quarter?
So we went to Skin Quarter the other day.
Quarter.
Right? I go there with all the girls, right? So they're all excited. We do the hayride. Then we all go, no, they all get a wagon. I'm like, guys, we can't take 4 wagons. Like, there's only 6. There's like other people here.
Yeah.
We need to. So we've got 2 wagons. And then, you know, Nellie's like, well, I'm going to get 3 little ones. And like, I have to have my own. I mean, really a little bit. So we started adding these things
in. It's like Disney World. It is like the cost of Disney World.
I look
when
at
you
Matt,
check out
and I'm like,
with pumpkins.
I'm like, how much do you think we're spending here? And he's like, I'm gonna go with $150. And I'm like, I'm like, well, they max out at $25. Like you won't go above. And he's like, I don't know. And I was like, he's like, how many do you think we really need? And I'm like, I just wanted this one kind of cool flatter one that was like unique that you don't find them, but you can't carve it. So it's kind of like, and then I'm like, we got to at least have 3 because then you can pair them off and they each can like carve one.
Carving is a whole other story.
So that's a whole other thing because we've actually never carved. Like we're slowly adding things, right? We never did pumpkin patch. Now we are. Now it's like, okay, do we carve this year? But it like has to be done kind of a certain week and night and, But anyway, so we rolled out of there at only $89.
Wow. That's impressive.
Yeah. Everybody did not get, and then I had signed up to take 2 for
school.
I had to sign up to take 2 for school. No, we got 3 big ones.
You got 3 pumpkins.
You share a room. You share a pumpkin. I'm just kidding. We can go back, but it's funny because I remember last year you were like, you gotta go. It's a great one. It's so easy. It's so cute. It's little. It really is fantastic. Yeah. So
I went like 36 weeks pregnant last year, maybe 37. I don't know. I was pregnant when we went. And it was great.
It's a good one.
But like we kind of just go, if you can carry it, you can get it. So, but then they see the wagon. So they're like, oh, I don't have to carry it. I just have to get it in the wagon. And then we end up with all of these huge pumpkins that apparently end up growing gourds on our driveway. But yeah, I don't know. It's so funny because I don't know if like my stamina as a mom has just gone down, but like I love the holidays. I love Halloween. I love it. But do I feel like I need perfectly carved pumpkins on my... No.
Well, we get to the checkout and the lady's like, you got to do this. And I'm like, okay, like share it. And she's like, nope, just get your drill.
Yeah.
Drill. And it looks like a little star.
Yep.
I'm like,
But you still have to carve it out though? You still have to get all the crap out of it?
Well, she says it's better. It glows better if you scoop it out. But I was like, all right.
I mean, who decided to like... say, hey, you need to carve pumpkins. Like, let's find this.
Maybe a couple with no kids.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, let's find this big thing that grows massively big. We want it. And I'm going to fill it with a whole bunch of gooky crap that is great to throw at each other. And it's great for babies to put in their mouths.
And then it can rot on your front porch. Yeah. And it gets infested.
Yeah. And then the kids are going to want to go in September, but then they're going to want to carve them. And they're going to ask you every day to carve them. And then you carve them and then they're rotten by Halloween. Yeah, I don't know. I'm literally not talking down because it's probably my favorite season of the year. But so there's pumpkin patches, there's apple
thing we've never done.
Did you guys just hear that? That was Lindi and I's best friend connection right there. We literally said that at the same time. You've never gone apple picking?
No. I'd like to, probably just for a donut.
Did you know that some of the country doesn't have stuff like this? Like my mom in Florida, we were down there one year. I think I had like 2 kids at the time.
Like the fall things?
Yeah. So so we went to the pumpkin patch in Florida, which was in a parking lot. They brought in fall things into a parking lot because that's what I'm sure there's probably pumpkin patches in Florida, but
they don't get like the
in Jacksonville,
farm type.
Yeah, in Jacksonville, there was not a pumpkin patch. It was like a pumpkin asphalt thing where they brought in some pumpkins and some other fall things. I don't know. It makes me sad. Like
the corn maze and the bales of hay that make me just itch watching.
But there is nothing like a fall afternoon in Virginia at a pumpkin patch or a farm or whatever. Which is probably why I don't want to leave mine right now. It's like
so you have done the apple thing.
Yeah, we did the apple thing every year.
You just pick a bag of apples.
No, it's kind of like pumpkins.
You gotta set those apples.
You gotta set those boundaries beforehand and figure out how many apples.
See,
you're
that
coming
one
home
you
with.
gotta drive to. So that one's kind of put me off a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, here
and I don't really want to go with the masses on a Saturday.
Yeah, no, it's a lot. But it's good. It's fun. I mean, it's apple picking. Like, why are you going? Yeah. Are you going for the memory? Are you going to teach your kids where apples come from? Or are you going for the pictures and going to show the internet that you took your kids apple picking?
Will not be for the internet.
Yeah. Well, for many people, I feel like that's a great question to ask themselves. Like, are you going because it feels like what you're supposed to be doing as a mom in the fall? Or are you really going to make memories for your kids? Or is there something else you can do that maybe you'll be home by nap time, or maybe you'll be able to feel a little bit more centered at the end of the day.
Yeah.
You know, like I think now starting to learn those boundaries as a mom, that like my needs matter. Although some people would argue, and we had a huge conversation on this on the Facebook group, that this is the season for us to be depleted and us to be giving to others constantly. What? That is a smirk over there.
What is that? No.
Remember that
I'm sorry. I have apples in my mind.
You were on vacation though. Remember the post? It was it was a great post. It was just somebody shared like a Bible verse or something.
Okay.
And there was a whole bunch of conversation about, you know, this is the season in our life. These.
Oh, you did share that. Okay.
Yeah. Where,
yes.
you know, God tells us that, you know, our cup is supposed to be empty, and when it is, you turn to him. I'm probably really getting it wrong.
I get it.
Because the sentiment of it started to scare me as the conversation went on and on, because sometimes on social media things can go in a different direction, and you cannot read all the comments, or you don't sit with it quite long enough to get the true like message of what was trying to be said and like fit it to how you feel. So it started getting a little dangerous in my opinion, because it kind of said, hey, you know, go until you're tired, go until you're depleted, you'll be fine, your needs don't matter, is how it started to go.
And if I had read that like 6 years ago, what would that have done to me? Anyway, so yes.
What would it have done to you, Lindy? You want to turn this into our self-love episode too?
No, it wouldn't have been good. It wouldn't have been good. Okay, no,
so
back to the apple thing.
Hold on. So really fast, let me finish this. So I guess what I'm saying is that I think as moms, we sometimes need to take a step back and ask why we're doing things. Are we doing things because it's a tradition and traditions are important to your family? Are you doing them because you want to be able to put pretty pictures? Once I realized that sometimes I was doing things literally just to get the picture, I stopped doing them.
No, I completely agree with you.
Yeah, like I just
kind of weighing up, because I was thinking that's where my mind kind of went a little bit. So I'm sorry that I was not paying attention to that.
No.
Because I was thinking, okay, if it's the apples and it's like probably the donuts and the hot chocolate, like I could totally put on a movie at home and learn how to make an apple pie, like with my girls, with the movie in the background. We could make some homemade donuts like that. And that is just for me personally, but I would enjoy that way more than riding in a car for 2 hours there and 2 hours home. And anyways, so that's just me. So like you can weigh up your options. You don't have to do all the things.
So last weekend, today's Monday, not this weekend, but the weekend prior to that, I was still coming down from, you know, life and what it had handed me, and I was feeling stuff, and I decided that we weren't doing anything. Catherine was still kind of off and still kind of sick, and I was like, okay, we're not doing anything. And it was really, really hard for me because the kids could have been at a swim meet, and I was getting everybody's like times of all of our family friends that we follow were, you know, popping up on my phone and pictures. But it was the craziest thing, because in that one weekend, the kids learned how to use GarageBand and iMovie and like did both. Like they wrote a song about how they wanted wings for dinner. My kids have never probably eaten wings in their life, but they wanted wings for dinner. So they wrote an entire song. Everybody had a line in it. They recorded it completely by themselves in their bedroom. Of course, they got wings for dinner. I made like 7 batches of those oatmeal muffins, because you can flip out and put pumpkin in them instead of banana, and the chocolate chip ones. And all we did was like literally bake all weekend. I made soup like 3 ways, destroyed the kitchen, cleaned the kitchen, destroyed the kitchen, cleaned the kitchen. And literally we just hung out. And when you ask me like what my like favorite memories are or are going to be from this fall, it's probably going to be that weekend, because we did nothing. I didn't get out of my pajamas all weekend. Yeah. But holy moly, did I watch like my kids like come together, and like I'm sure there was emotional stuff on my side going, you know, through as I watched my family of 6, knowing that it's going to be 6 now, you know, but it was cool. I don't know. I just feel like it's such a strong, cool place to get in motherhood, when you can kind of say, hey, it's the season. And if this isn't going to bring me happiness, or if this is, I'm being told on social media that this is what I'm supposed to be doing, how can I make this fit better for my family? Like, how can I, instead of go to the big pumpkin patch that's 30 miles away, that has all of these things and all of these things to do, can I go to the closer one, and maybe we go home and we make dinner, or we, you know, there's an ice cream place, we eat ice cream cones and play in the sand when we're done. You know what I'm saying? Like, but it takes a lot of confidence to get there, I feel like.
Yeah.
I wish I could wrap that up as a baby shower gift to other moms. Is like my 11 years of parenting a lot of kids, just reaching the point where, you don't have to do it all, and your kids are going to be okay.
Yeah.
Well, I don't really know. You guys can talk to me in like 10 years and tell me if my kids are okay, but I think they will be. What else? Anything else in the fall?
I mean, we don't do a whole lot of other things in the fall. I mean, there's trick-or-treating. What else?
Halloween. Are you allowed? What do you do for costumes for Halloween? Do you let them order them or make them? Or this was another thing you taught me too. I would ask Lindy, hey, what are your kids going to be for Halloween? And she's like, I don't know, whatever's in the costume box. And I was like, what? Like, you're not going to like make them something? You're like the fashion person. Like, are you going to?
I remember one year I hit the jackpot at Target.
Yeah.
After. I don't know. I hit the right day. I didn't even know. But I walked back there and all the costumes were like 90% off. And the racks were like full.
Wow.
And I spent like $36 and I filled like 2 carts. Like I'm like a full on like gorilla that was like an adult size. And like these little unicorn riding one. I mean, we had so many. I had 2 hot dogs that you like pull over, a big pizza, like all these things. And I'm like, we are set for like 6 years of Halloween.
So funny.
So the girls, I'm like, what are you guys going to do for Halloween this time? I'm like, you got a hot dog? You got a pizza? And they looked at each other like, you love hot dogs. You love pizza. We can be a hot dog and a pizza. And I'm like, ding. Like,
that's amazing.
There you go. It's interesting because I have my boys and they're like, I'm like, are you going to go trick or treating? Like, come on, like have fun. I'm like, but you have to have a costume. Like, you have to have something. And Gabe's like, well, can I just do the same thing as I did last year? I'm like, you need to come up with something else.
Really?
He made a costume that he wrote with Sharpie and it said like 404, like costume not found.
That's kind of cute.
It was, but he came up with that last year. I'm like, if you're going to do that, you need to come up with something else on a shirt or whatever.
So Eric wasn't allowed to be anything scary for Halloween growing up. That was a rule. I mean, skeletons were not allowed either. Like, I mean, skeleton, like pajamas.
Really?
Like, yeah, like it was very, very, not scary holiday. And then they also had to
do it now?
So, well, I mean, I don't think I don't know. He still doesn't like it. He still doesn't like the kids being anything scary, but he, which is weird to me with where he's kind of landed in the whole like religion thing, but that's probably a podcast for another day. So he always had a hand make his costumes. That was also their family rule. So thankfully we've landed in the whole like, hey, we have a lot of kids. Hey, I own a business. Hey, I'm not going to be able to supervise this. I think at some point he might get, as the kids get older, like the boys, the same type of thing, like the Sharpie on the shirt. Like if you do want to like go out, you need a costume, you need whatever.
If you expect a bag of candy.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So interestingly enough, Alex wanted to be this anime character that apparently is a good guy, so he gets to be it. But I ordered his costume like straight from Alibaba Express, and I'm like, because he's my persistent one, so every time I saw him, he was shoving my phone in like my face and saying, this is the link, and I'm like, Alex, like there's a good chance we're not going to see this by Halloween, and there's a good chance when it gets here it's going to be terrible, and I have no idea what size to order you, like no clue, like everything's in centimeters, which is not that atypical because we deal with it all the time. But it was just very, so anyways, we ordered it. It got here in time and it fits him perfectly, which is crazy to me. Nathan also wanted to be an anime character, and then he decided that he wants to be a lobster. So
that's cool.
So now he's going to be a lobster.
How's he going?
I ordered him a costume. We're not in handmade costume land quite yet. I used to handmake costumes. Like I used to do a family costume for like Halloween parties. Like Nathan was a sack of potatoes for his first Halloween. He was like 6 months old. He was just sitting up, and it was like the Wirt Potato Company and like a burlap bag. And then I made these little potatoes out of pantyhose. So, you can make a potato out of pantyhose pretty easily. You can just kind of like put the little things on it. So cute. We were a family of aliens a couple of years ago. That was fun. But the problem is that I get into it, like creativity. Like I'll go to the craft store, spend way too much money, trash the house. I get angry at the kids while I'm trying to like finish things. Like I'm not a good like crafter around my kids. Like I'll be a good, like I love creativity. Like, and I love being creative. but I'm going to need to like go to the mountains with you and be creative because like creativity and chaos don't mix with me. Like, and it's not because I'm a perfectionist with it. It's because I go to a completely different place. Like I like calm, and calm does not happen in certain locations in my house now.
Yeah.
So anyways, the hand making the costumes doesn't happen anymore because I get way too into it.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I do think it may get a little bit more difficult, like as I get older. Like sometimes I've struggled, like Nora's like, I want to be this or this, and then it changes, and then this, and we have some cool like butterfly like wings and stuff. I'm like, that would be easy. We could do fun makeup, like just wear like black leggings and like black like long sleeve or something. So I don't know.
It's so funny.
They haven't started to talk, and we probably needed to figure.
I think at some point we need to like rename the podcast to like Lowering Expectation, like the Lazy Mom podcast with Melissa and Lindi. And it's because it's just funny because I just said I made my kid a potato costume. I mean, I worked so hard on that potato costume. And then one year he was a chicken, like his next year. So this is number one, guys. So like the next year he was a full on chicken. I glued all sorts of feathers to his outfit. I wrapped boas around him. Like he was the cutest thing ever. And then I was pregnant with Alex, so I looked like I was an egg. So I like made a yellow thing on the middle of the shirt. So like I have all of these amazing fond memories.
Did you save them or no? Curious.
I don't. They probably got eaten by a dog or destroyed in the dress up thing or something.
Yeah, I made a couple when we just had 4. And Nellie was little, so I was going to wear her in the carrier, and I made her, she was popcorn in a popcorn box. So I have pictures. So like I just put like felt, red felt, and made a hat and put popcorn all over it. So she was popcorn. And Nora, I made her a little piglet, like a stuffed piglet costume, which is really cute with pink tights. And then after that, I never made anything.
It's so funny because like we talk back and we're like smiling and looking at it so fondly, and like where's that balance? Like I remember being stressed out about all of that stuff and like making it and doing whatever, but I look back on it so fondly.
Yeah.
And like great memories and stuff. But I'm not gonna do it probably this year. I mean, maybe I'll make Matthew. I don't think I'm gonna make Matthew something. I don't know. But it's funny. Like you just have to kind of like decide whether the stress at the moment was worth it and the time and energy for like those memories. And maybe it's just nostalgic of like what it was like to only have 2 kids or 4 kids or whatever, just because that's not reality. Yeah. I just think it's a really gorgeous, in my opinion, season, like throughout the country. I mean, for the most part, it's like the season of, somebody posted some, I'm going to call it corny, but I'm going to talk about it, so it's probably not corny. Like just, quote about autumn and how like, things die so we can grow and, all of this stuff. But I know you're laughing at me right now, but it's just such I don't know, it's such a really interesting like season of change, and the weather is so gorgeous. And I feel like sometimes it starts this season of like super pressure on moms. So it's like, Halloween and pumpkins and all of this stuff that then goes straight into Thanksgiving and how are you going to manage family holidays and who's going where and who's cooking what and all of this stuff at the same time that your kids are probably getting colds and, sick and missing school. And then there's all of that drama as the seasons change, and then you're inside more and the days are shorter, and I'm going to start stressing a lot of people out, and I don't mean that. But then it goes straight into Christmas, and are you shopping at the right time, and are you saving money, and what are you going to get your kids, and is it too much, and whose house are you going to go to, and what are your in-laws going to say to you? Like it's a really, really, it's like the start of like this beautiful, wonderful, amazing season of like love and gifts and everything. But like, I don't know.
I have a friend who, it's pretty incredible. Like I wish I was able to do it, but she starts, literally throughout the year, she kind of slowly picks up things like for Christmas. And so like she shared the other day that she'd found like a deal, whatever she was looking for. And I'm just like it is just so far off my radar, but it totally works for her and it's so cool. Yeah. So like there's no judgment, but like, know, I haven't even got to like Halloween or any of the plans, which are completely stressful to me.
Yeah.
So
I don't know. I sometimes think like this is the season, and like these last few months of the year are just like literally the weight that gets on mother's shoulders is insane. Like it's just, I don't know another, you know, I don't know, subset of people in the world that could take it. But like, it's just, you know, I've learned to take it kind of like one day at a time, and what gets done, it gets done. And it always happens. Like my mom always come into town like the day before a kid's birthday party. And like, I'll be like, I'll see you, I'm going to work. And she'll just kind of look at me and be like, you always get it done. You always get it done. You always pull it off. I don't know how you do it. And I mean, thankfully I have a lot of people, and there's, you know, Instacart and, you know, all sorts of things that can help me multitask. But I don't know. I think it's just a reminder from like an old mama over here who's a little seasoned that, you know, the stress doesn't help anybody, you know, lowering expectations and remembering what's like truly important, you know, going into the season. It's like, get off social media, you know, figure out what your family needs, you know, not what social media tells you you need. And I've started doing those things, the things that we do as a family. I've started to do them for memories for the kids because I know it brings them a lot of joy. And I've stopped forcing the photos because that's just impossible with 6. Like impossible. Like it's just really, really hard. And maybe, and why do I want them? Like sometimes I'm like, do I want these pictures so I can look back on them? And if so, I'm going to take the chaotic one where they're all over the place and they're all running around. Or am I taking these pictures because I want to, you know, show up on social media, because if I don't, it didn't happen. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think that there's just something really real to kind of reach the point where, you know, you realize what really matters isn't, you know, zooming out of the pumpkin at Walmart to show that you're at Walmart. You know, I mean, you know, did you need a pumpkin picture? Like, where was that coming from? Was it coming from the need to show the world that you guys have pumpkins, you know, and you went to a pumpkin? I mean, it's just,
it was kind of funny. I remember posting it. I think I did post it somewhere, but it was like the joke.
Yeah.
It's like, where's the pumpkin pad? And it's like, no, just kidding. We're at Walmart. I'm not going anywhere, you know, but I know back then I felt like, I should be doing these things. I'm missing out, you know, this and that. I mean, you feel like that when you feel a bit trapped in the house and all of that. But,
and I think getting out as a family has rewards within itself. And I feel them every single time we go out. But we only, and sometimes getting in the car and going someplace that you didn't want to go fixes a lot of stuff, and you're together and you're all in a car. And those are some of my favorite memories too. But doing something simply because you feel like you have to do it, I think gets us in a lot of trouble as moms. I mean, financially, mentally, a lot of things. So,
right.
So you guys do you. This was our catch-up episode and our little shout out to, you know, learn what your family needs and really listen and look at that as opposed to what social media needs. And pace yourself. It's the beginning of the season.
Yeah. We're going to do some chores. We'll do that next.
Yeah, we'll do it next week. All right. Bye, guys.